Ganbare Goemon. A series that I got into, tried all the games, all the action-based games anyway. I was told that it was going to be amazing, awesome, and super duper terrific. I've found out that it mostly kinda was and wasn't, but I don't know. Generally, I've been disappointed by this series, I have to say. Although I might have gone in with a little too high expectations, to be fair. I first heard about it in the Screwattack video days, actually. It was, I think was it top 10 Super Nintendo games, or it was something similar to that. They had Legend of the Mystical Ninja, aka the first Super Nintendo Goemon game there on the list, and they said it was amazing, and it's like two-player co-op and da-da-da. So that, that's what introduced me to it. I didn't play it right away. Then as I found and watched everything on the amazing Snesdrunk YouTube channel, which you might know about, a channel that's really good. He also loves all the Goemon games and talks them to the high heavens, so I generally trust his opinion. I got most of them, played most of them. Generally, I've been happy with some of them, and I have one clear favorite, but in general, they've been kind of a little bit of a letdown to me, and I'll take you through it. So chronologically, first in 1986 was Mr. Goemon for arcades, and I've only tried this really quickly, and it's just a simple arcade game. There's not much to say. Later that same year, they released Ganbare Goemon Karakuri Dochu for Famicom. And this one is basically the true first game, really, because the arcade game is kind of just there. The first Famicom game is what set a template of sorts for the series. So it's not a side scroller, but it's kind of like a beat 'em up in how you can move up and down, but you don't battle enemies like a beat 'em up. So it's not, but also you're moving all sorts of ways. There's enemies you attack, and then you get the tropes of the series, like the little Maneki Neko welcome cat, which I never enjoyed. I think this is kind of weird. That comes out, you grab it, you upgrade your weapon. If you hit women, you touch women for bonus. You go into a little first-person dungeon, which I think this might be the only game that has that. Maybe the second game also did, but it's set in feudal Japan, because Goemon is like the Japanese Robin Hood, basically. He was like a bandit who went against the feudal system at the time, which is why he got boiled alive. And as the legend says, he held up his son, who was also to be boiled alive with him. He held him up as he was sinking into boiling whatever, and that made an impression on the people who were doing it. They were like, let's let the son live, and he was put in I think it was like a barrel or whatever, and that's kind of sick that they call, like, if you take a bath in a barrel, they call it a Goemon bath. Hot steamy bath, but hopefully you'll survive it. But anyway, the first game, it's there. It's 1986, so it's not really that good. It has 16 levels. I could only make it to 4, and after you beaten the 16th, it goes back to the first and becomes harder. So it has that kind of looping system, which was the style at the time. It has the iconic music, which would be used again and again in the series, and I do not disapprove of that, because it's a really good tune. It's the Edo Castle theme, I think they call it. So it's a decent start for a game. It's not one that I enjoy that much, but I don't know, it's there, it's okay. It's a decent start for the series. And the sequel was Ganbare Goemon 2. The box art / cartridge sticker art thing for the second game has basically Goemon and the other stuff made in this needle and thread, whatever artwork it is. It's not just painted, which, that's cool. Second game is basically more of the first, but it's way better, and it didn't come out right away either. They waited a whole 3 years to make another game, and they put some time into it. It has 2 players for the first time. Ebi Sumaru is in there. The game is just a lot more fluent than the first. There's still not a platforming game, but there are a couple of scenes where you basically move on a 2D plane and you mostly jump upwards, but still So it's taking the first step into the whole platform world. It's an improvement of the first, but I just never really took the time to play it much more than half an hour anyway. So this one is just kind of a miss for me, but it's better, but I don't have much to say about it because I never really tried to play it any further. Then in 1990 they had the third game, which was an RPG, and I never played this because it's an RPG, and it's also not been translated yet as far as I know. This was the introduction of Yae, the green-haired ninja girl, and I'm just gonna move on because I haven't played it. In 1991 was 2 games. It was Legend of the Mystical Ninja, aka this really long title, for the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, and there was Sarawareta Ebi Sumaru for the Game Boy. The Game Boy one is a simple overhead game. It's fine, decent. I know it's just kind of a 5 out of 10. Who cares kind of game to me, but Legend of the Mystical Ninja on Super Nintendo is a good game indeed, as Screwattack said, but it's not great, and I wouldn't really call it. It would definitely not be in a top 10 list. But well, it splits the game between 2 parts. You have the overhead kind of parts that are like the first game, and you have side-scrolling action stages, which would become the dominant form. Honestly, for the better, but still, like the other parts, which were like the first game, they still had a major part to play in the first game. And I have not been able to beat this game. It has passwords, but I have no idea how to enter them, how to use them, and how to get to where I left off. So that's a problem. I came to a stage which was just too difficult, and I just got annoyed having to start all over again and all that stuff, so I just kind of gave up on it. Just kind of, I don't know, good game, not great. Next one was the other RPG, the Gambare Goemon Gaiden 2 for the Famicom, another RPG, and I haven't played it. 1993 was the second game on Super Famicom, Kiteretsu Shogun McGuinness, which is a comedic take on the Commodore Matthew Perry opening of Japan back in the 1840s, 50s, something or other. So you have foreigners coming into Japan and wrecking shit, and Goemon has to save the day. And this is the game that most people seem to enjoy the most. This seems to be people's favorite. I've heard it favorably compared to Super Mario World. I mean, it's to that level. And I have beaten this one, actually. It's one of the handful of games that I have beaten. I do like it, but I also kind of hate it, because it's one of those where the frustration is basically on par with the enjoyment. You have a little overworld with simple go to the next stage thing. Every other stage, or every third stage or whatever, is a town where you have to do something and then unlock, getting out of the town, which is kind of like a throwback to the first game where you had to find a pass to be able to go to the next stage, which is also historically like a reference to the Edo period, where you couldn't leave your town. You had to have a special pass to travel in Japan because it was very restrictive. You have the action stages, which are all pretty good, with an asterisk that I'll get to. And this game introduced Goemon Impact, Goemon's giant robot thing, which has these Mode 7 type first-person boss battles, which are good and they're very impressive for the Super Nintendo, but they're also really hard, or I found it to be really hard anyway. Basically, you have to block the enemy's attacks. You have to shoot your little coin. You can shoot coins at them, but that usually doesn't do that much. You have to punch their projectiles out of the air and then block them in there at the right time, and then you can attack back. You have your super attack that you kind of save up to, and then you use that takes up some of his damage. Like, I had to continue many times to even beat the first boss in this mode. It took a long time to get used to it, and I still, even when I got used to it, it never got easy. For me anyway. It might be super easy for you, but it was never for me. And it also was barely enjoyable because of it. On the other hand, I have to give big props to Goemon to this game and the other games that would follow too, because they had really good continue systems. In the stages, you would get this elephant, which allows you to continue from that point. Usually that you can find one in the middle of the stage and one like before the boss, I think. And there's the continue on the Goemon Impact. So whenever you die at that battle, you don't have to do the whole stage again or anything. Even if you go to another part of the map to stock up on items, because you can go to the town to buy like armors that would let you take a couple more hits, and the onigiri, which can refill your energy back up once. You go to the town and buy those, and the first time I did that, I expected to have to do the whole stage and everything leading up to it, but I just continued right at the boss battle. And most of the other games do that too, so thank you a lot for that. Oh, and before the boss battle, there's this part where you run or whatever, you skate basically with the giant robot over houses and enemy units and stuff. I guess it's the enemy houses, I'm not sure, but you just get wreck shit. But if you run into anything, you fall over, and you are trying to conserve energy, because the energy is your health on the actual boss battle. So those stages are also important. But doing everything, it's hard. I don't know. There's also the regular stages. I recall there's one part where you have to jump on mochi, I think it is, before it gets like shredded, and so you have a small window of time. Kind of difficult. And I also really hated that one level where you have to jump on and off a dragon that flies around the stage. I found that really hard. So this is one of those games similar to Mega Man 9. When I finally beat it, I was just exhausted, and I just kind of felt like, that was pretty good, I'm never going to play it again. So yeah, that's basically my review of Ganbare Goemon 2. It was pretty good, I'm never playing it again. However, in 1994, they made another one, Ganbare Goemon 3, with a very long subtitle. This is my favorite game in the series, and one of the two that I still own that I haven't sold. And this one, on the surface, is the same as the second game, but this one has overhead Zelda-type action instead of just being a town every now and then. The 2D action stages are a lot more puzzly. They're less frantic action and more puzzly. The Goemon Impact battles have been scaled back significantly. There aren't like one per world, so to speak. They're just like 2 or 3 in the whole game. And they're not as annoying, they're not as hard. Even though like the last one was not that bad, and I appreciate it for that. This one is, I said that in my Famifun review, this one is like only 10% frustration, whereas most other Goemon games can be 30 to 70% frustration. But this one had a really good balance for me anyway. It has some frustrating parts, yes. Like there are, you switch between 4 characters, like Sasuke, which I think they introduced him in the second game as like an enemy, and then here you can play as him. You can switch between 4 characters as you find them, and Ebisumaru has this ring thing which you can latch on to these knobs and then jump, and sometimes he falls through them. That's annoying, but it doesn't happen that much. You also have these like mech suits you can run around in, which makes me feel like Final Fantasy 6 if you could actually control those in that manner, which you can't in that game. So I have very few complaints about this game. This is a 9.5 out of 10 for me or something. That's why I still have it. This is my favorite of the series. 1995, new year, new game on the Super Famicom, and this is the game that everyone else loves, but I hate. Ganbare Goemon Kira Dochu Boku ga Dancer ni Natta Wake. And it's Wake, even though the kanji to me look like Ryu, but it's Wake. Yeah, as I said, everyone loves it, but I hate it. So the positives: great graphics. It has a lot of megs for a Super Nintendo game. The boss battles, instead of just bosses, they are like mini games. That's very inventive. I like it. It's a Goemon game, so you have the switch between the characters and all that stuff. I mean, on the surface, it seems like a slam dunk, but I hate it. One thing, they added a run button. It's not visibly like Mario that he runs, but there is I don't remember which button it is, but you can, if you just walk, you just walk. If you hold down the button, you walk slightly or run, slightly faster. And you basically have to do that to clear a lot of jumps, because the jumps are kind of like in Castlevania Legacy of Vampire's Kiss. They're stretched to infinity. You have to do the longest possible jump from the possible edge to make it to the other side. And they put enemies in the air on your way there. So this game kind of hates you. It's what I feel like anyway. The stage design is as annoying as possible. Enemies respawn if you just move an inch to the left, all of them come back. I know that's a lot, it happens in a lot of games, but here it's really annoying. And those mini games aren't very fun. They are like this one where Goemon Impact or an enemy bungee jumps or whatever, and Goemon Impact has to stop them at the right moment. Since I'm really bad at timing, I hated that. And I got to another one which was playing a puzzle game, which is like, oh, this is fun. But then you have to win 2 out of 3 rounds, and I couldn't. I could never beat 2 rounds. I could only beat 1. So it was too hard. So it wasn't fun. And besides all that, the respawning enemies, the annoying stage designs with the long jumps and enemies in the air, like I just had no fun at all playing this game. I was really surprised because Snesdrunk too thought it was really, really good, and I was just like befuddled, like, is this supposed to be this bad? Like, what am I missing? Very similar reaction to what I had with Great Battle 5, which he also talked up a bunch, and I thought it was quite awful. So yeah, this one is far down on my list. 1996, they went on with New Frontiers. There's one game for Super Famicom, which is a weird game with Ebisumaru, which I haven't played, but I don't know really what it's supposed to be, some kind of puzzle board game thing. I don't know. But on PlayStation, there's Uchu Kaisoku Akugingu, like Space Pirates Akugingu, whatever that is. This one looked like it was going to be really good, and it is good, I would say. I almost beat it, but I couldn't. It kind of looked like it was going to be more of Ganbare Goemon 3 style, which made me really excited because it has the overworld there. That's nice. The stages are 2D like usual. The graphics are better because of PlayStation. They have Goemon Impact in 3D. Goemon Impact battles were not that bad. But here I had to give up. I had to just say, no, I can't do this. On this one stage where you have to use, I think it was Ebisumaru, he has this claw thing that he can grab onto things and swing with, and you have to have these like semi-moving platforms. You have to jump from one to another to get upward, but on top of the thing is like a little fire, so if you drop down and you can't land on them so if you drop down, you have to start all over again. And the controls were finicky as hell. There's an earlier section like that where you grabbed onto this thing and it goes down slowly. So like if you don't keep going up fast enough, it goes too far down and you have to start over again. That was really fucking annoying, but I actually managed to clear it. Then I came to this part and I had to give up. That was too hard, too annoying, and I was just... 1997 brought Ganbare Goemon back to the West and to Nintendo 64. With the long subtitle, but it's just called The Mystical Ninja Starring Goemon, I think, in the West. And this one I also heard good things about, and I played it, and yeah, I thought this was a solid game. I beat it, and a little annoying here and there, but nothing too bad. Especially for Nintendo 64, it could be a lot worse. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say. It's like, it's I guess kind of the best since Ganbare Goemon 3. I don't sing its praises. It's not like, oh, this is a great game, it's better than Mario 64 or something, but it's a lot of good, very little bad. So definitely a pass type of 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Fine, good. Next game, please. Same year also had a Goemon game, Mystical Ninja Star Goemon, for the Game Boy, and this one is also like just a kind of overhead Goemon game. It's fine, it's whatever. I barely played it. It doesn't interest me. Next. The next year has one for the PlayStation, one for Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 is the better game, definitely. The PlayStation one, Kurunara Koi, is probably the worst action-based Goemon game. Definitely the worst one in 3D, because it's like this overhead isometric E thing. You can rotate the area, and so you move smoothly enough, that's fine. But it's kind of hard to gauge jumps. The enemies are damage sponges for no good reason. It's just not very... It's kind of poorly made. Although it's fully voice acted, so that's nice. The guy who does the voice for Ebisumaru is a famous Japanese voice actor, and I've heard him before in IRM games, such as Pachipara. kind of weird that he would work for IREM and do major animes, like, but still, you know, I'm not complaining. So that's kind of cool, but this game, no, not a good one. The Nintendo 64 game is better, but it's not great. I quit this one out of frustration too. It just annoyed me too much. Nothing specific to say really. It's just this one is fully platformer. It doesn't have the 3D adventure like the previous one had. It's just too annoying for me to keep playing, so I just quit it. But yeah. Also, I think the last Goemon game to come west, if not for the Game Boy. No, I think this was the last. 1999 had 3 Goemon games come out, and none of them action-based. There was this Tengu-centric game on Game Boy/Game Boy Color. There was Mononoke Sugoroku, which is a board game on the Nintendo 64, and a Game Boy version of that. The Game Boy version seems more like an RPG than a board game, but still, and I haven't played any of these, just because, really. The Tengu game is like, they mixed real life and Goemon, so it's like starring a kid who has Goemon cards, or cooperates with Goemon, something like that. That's at least a neat idea, I suppose. In the year 2000, there were 2 good Goemon games. The first one I still have. Game Boy Color's Seikushi Dynamite's Arawaru, I think it is. And if you think that Seikushi sounds like sexy, aka sexy, then don't worry, they make that joke in the game too. Goemon has some funny fourth wall breaking from time to time. This one is a quality game. I first played it and I thought it was pretty annoying, and you move a little slower, of course, because it's Game Boy Color. I thought the enemy placements were annoying and all that stuff. I actually got used to it here, and it's kind of good that you start playing as Goemon, play a few stages, going from one part of Japan to the other. Then you play as Ebisumaru in another part of Japan, going the other way, sort of. And then you meet in the middle, and then you can switch between them when after they met up. So that's kind of cool. It still has good continuous and all that stuff. It's good graphics for the Game Boy Color. After I did get over the hurdle, this is a pretty good game, so still have it. The other one is also pretty good, but I did sell it. It's Boken Jidai Katsukeki Goemon for the PlayStation 2. Being on the PlayStation 2, it seems, I don't know, it seems kind of weird that it's on the PlayStation 2, because all the Goemon games have been on Nintendo 64 at the newest, and then handhelds. I don't know, somehow it feels weird to me. This one is kind of like the Goemon's Ocarina of Time. It takes place like, it ignores a bunch of other games. It takes place early in the timeline. You start wearing, I think you wear different clothes when you start. Before you get you start with blue clothes before you get your red clothes. You meet Ebisumaru, Yae, and Sasuke for the first time. Although you don't actually play as them here. You don't switch between all the characters. The combat has a little bit of Ocarina feel with a slight lock-on, and there's a lot of jumping. It was apparently going to be localized by Working Designs, this one localizing company that everyone loves, but I completely passed me by because I never had a Sega Saturn, I suppose. Maybe that was why. But it never happened. It starts actually with like an anime, cartoon anime opening, which is cool, with a good song and everything. Starts out in Edo, and then you go out to do stuff. It's a good game. I liked it. However, it's also became one of those that I sold it, but it wasn't like Gamera Goemon 2, where it's like this was good, I'm never gonna play it again. This I could play again, but it had a few parts that just make me like, but should I though? Because those parts were so. So let me tell you about those parts. I guess the honorable mention part is the final boss, because I had to have all items I could possibly have, all the leveling, if I don't remember if it was leveling, but all like the max stats or whatever, and I could still barely beat it because it does so much damage. So, but you know, final boss, fair enough, I suppose. But the other two parts, first, I guess I don't know chronologically in which order it was, but it's this one shaft where you have to jump and climb from the bottom to the top, right? That seems fine enough, with not perfect controls, but not bad. But there's these platforms come in and out of the wall, so you jump, you hang on, climb up, jump to the next before they go back into the wall. Okay, that's kind of hard, but fine. it's like a robot dungeon or metal dungeon or whatever. So some of the platforms turn hot. So at certain intervals they are like glowing, and then if you touch them while they're glowing, you either like you lose your grip or you get hurt, and then you almost inevitably fall down and have to do everything from the beginning again, which is so much fun. And that part took me a long time. It was really frustrating, and that was one of those parts that kind of scares me if I ever gonna replay it. There's also one small part where you have to run into the screen away from like a big enemy, which reminds me of Crash Bandicoot, and I hate Crash Bandicoot, but that part I can forgive. The other part is not an action part, but is it's just kind of those wow type things that also scares me if I'm ever gonna play it again. So you get to this one puzzle, and it's a room with a bunch of small pillar platforms. They all have dots on them, like a dice. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? You have to. The first one you jump on has like a 2 on it or something. The next one has a 4, and then it turns into a bunch of them. So it's like 50 platforms or something, and then the exit's over there. You have to jump. Every time you jump, you have to. The numbers have to make 6. So you start on the 4, then you jump onto. You start on the 2, you jump onto the 4. That's 6. Ding, like that. Then you jump over to, you have to jump left, forward, or right. So if you jump left and it's a 4, then you have to jump somewhere where there's a 2, and then it starts over again. You get the idea, right? That in itself is okay. First of all, if you jump like a 3 and then a 4 or whatever, you get hurt from the pillar, you fall down into the pit or whatever, and then get sent back to the start of the puzzle. Okay. But there's also the fact that you can't stand still after a completed jump for a long time and just figure it out, because then it blows up on your feet and you get knocked back and you have to start over again. So this was just really tedious. I had to jump and then pause the game, write down what I saw, and pause and unpause basically, and to write down the solution. And then after I had made it and figured out and made it to the exit, I thought I'm gonna publish this. I'm going to take this solution and put it on GameFAQs, Game FAQs, and help others. Then it turns out it's random. Yeah, so if I kind of want to play this game again because it was good, but thinking about that shaft and that puzzle, doing that again, I don't know. But still a good game. 2001 had 2 more Goemon games. There's Oedo Dai Kaiten, which is just your standard Goemon platformer. It's kind of reminds me of the second Nintendo 64 game. It's kind of average. It's 2 players. It has all the good stuff. It has all the frustration. I don't know. It's just kind of, to me, it's just kind of there. It has Goemon Impact again also, but I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't have too much to say. But I have a little bit more to say about the other game from that year, Shin Serai Shumei Goemon, which is a reboot or a different kind of style of Goemon. It's more futuristic. Goemon looks a little more anime-y and less cartoony, which, if that makes sense, because both are cartoons. It has this Goemon in shadow also, so I think this is one of those where it's like a reboot but not a reboot, because you're actually playing Goemon's son or something. Ibusumaru is a girl now for some reason. Yae, I don't remember how she looks like. I don't think I ever got to her. Sasuke is there, and he looks exactly the same. For some reason, they didn't feel the need to reinvent him. You have the town parts are more towny than ever. But honestly, I didn't hate this. I've been told to hate this game, sort of. I mean, on the online and in Japan, apparently this didn't go over well. This reboot. I have another thing to say about that later, but. I thought it was fine. This game, it's Goemon, frustrating at certain times and all that stuff, but not too bad. It's kind of good. Then I got to the first boss on top of the Tokyo Tower or something, and it was really fucking hard for some reason. And then I finally beat him, and then I went to Goemon Impact, and I can't do it. again, Goemon Impact, bane of my existence. Only in Ganbare Goemon 3 was it really good or forgiving. The music here is great, however. But I couldn't do it, even though after I found a scan of the manual, because the game is pretty expensive, which gave me some techniques, because I knew there was stuff I was missing, but there's no FAQ, there's not even a Japanese walkthrough for the game. I still couldn't beat it. I just whatever, Goemon Impact again. I said F it, didn't play it again, but there was some promise there. 2002 had a Game Boy Advance game based on this reboot, and it's also one of those okay kind of Goemon games. I don't know, it's kind of like Oedo Daikaiten. I haven't played it very much, but I played it enough to just know that I just kind of... Then, besides the first game for NES ending up on Game Boy Advance on the Famicom Mini series, you had to wait until 2005 to get the last 2 games of the series. And one of them is just Ganbare Goemon 1 and 2 on Game Boy Advance. So it's like Super Mario Advance, and I guess 2 games, but 2 games in 1. So there's really nothing to say about that one. And then there's Ganbare Goemon, really long subtitle for Nintendo DS. And this one I have beaten. It was also really frustrating, but I did beat it. This one is the only other, I guess, besides Kurunara Koi that has isometric overworld, although it's not 3D. It does feel more like Zelda-y, which I thought was a good thing. The artwork is really nicely done. I remember one part where Ebisumaru gets really fat like a blob, so it's kind of like Homer in the Simpsons game, and you have to roll him from one part of the map to another without rolling into something that damages you. That was kind of difficult, but not that frustrating. So the main part of the game is overworld, but then you have some action stages which are just regular 2D pretty much. Those were pretty good, apart from I think it was the last stage that was really, really frustrating, which again made me sell the game and just kind of okay, this is good, but I don't think I want to play it again. And it was just the fact that I guess you can blame the Nintendo DS for it, because this is a few parts where you have to I think he was on a big fork or something. You have to bend it, and then he boing, so he shoots up, and it worked 75% of the time, which is not enough. So most of the time he would jump, and sometimes he would just boing, bounce a little bit and fall into his death. So it was frustrating. And again, pretty good, but I don't think I want to play it anymore. After 2005, the Goemon series has been dead. There's been 21 years now, and still no new Goemon games. He's of course had, like Mega Man, had a bunch of merchandise. There was a Goemon collection made last year or this year, so that's a good sign. But still, no new games. The only kind of sort of exception is Bakeru. It's made by Goodfeel, which was founded by Itsunobu Ebisu, who is the guy who made the Goemon series, pretty much. Because his name is Ebisu, he made basically Ebisumaru in his own image, kind of. So Bakeru is a 3D action game, and it's basically Goemon. It's kind of like the Mighty Number 9 of Goemon games, and I'm just saying that in the way that it's Goemon but not Goemon. Like Mighty Number 9 was Mega Man, but not Mega Man. I'm not talking about the quality, because everyone hates Mighty Number 9. I barely played it, but Bakeru seems to have gone over well. So, and it's made by the people who made the original series. So why shouldn't it be good? But I haven't played it, so I can't say anything about it. But yeah, Goemon in general, I thought it was going to be an amazing series. I thought every game was going to be absolute gold. Turns out, no, that was not the case. But I did get some good games out of it. I've beaten 4 or maybe 5. I don't remember at this particular moment. But I will always treasure Ganbare Goemon 3. Blah 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 Manji something something. And this is just an aside, but to me this is Ganbare Goemon 3. This is not Go For It Goemon. I don't know, it's just because I studied Japanese, I probably feel a little superior or something. Probably it's my bad, but I don't really like when fan translators do that, where they translate the whole title. Because if this has been known to everyone as, everyone online and Japan, as this has been known as Gambare Goemon since 1986, it never had an official. Well, it's Mystical Ninja, so they could have used that, I guess. I don't like them just going in there and translating it to Go For It Goemon. I know that it's like it's a good translation of Gambare, really, but I don't know, there's something feels odd about it. It should be Gambare Goemon, and then you can translate a subtitle, but it's Gambare Goemon, okay? Very strange hill for me to die on, but there you go. So that's the Gambare Goemon series. I liked a few of the games. I was frustrated by most of the games, and the other third I didn't play because they were board games or RPGs or that kind of thing. There's also Party Slot,